Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking another look at construction on the Broadway Subway Project in June of 2025. For those of you who are new to this project, it's a 5.7 kilometer long extension of the Millennium Line with 6 new stations. Major construction started in May of 2021 with an expected completion date of the fall of 2027 at a cost of just under 3 billion Canadian dollars. We will also look at some noteworthy developments that have been spurred on by the new subway. Starting at the end of the current line at VCC-Clark, adjacent development continues. The new mass timber building directly beside the station is nearing completion and now has its unique balconies in place. Just across the street from the station, we now know more about another large redevelopment on the 2-acre former Rogers site. The proposed plan would see one 19-story office tower and two 35-story rental towers built upon a shared 4-story podium with mixed-use commercial. In total, 600 new units of housing would be created. Moving on to the 700-meter elevated section, since last time, all the rail pads have been installed and rail is now being moved into place. We can hear the sounds of rail being worked on from down below. Short pieces of rail are welded together in the works yard into 400-meter long sections. They are then pulled into place by this machine called a speed swing. Here's a photo of it in a tunnel. And there it is, ready to pull the next piece. The rails run along these rollers and enter the guideway at the transition point to the underground portal. Once in place, crews move and attach them to the rail pads with E-clip fasteners. As of May, the rail has been installed between Great Northern Way Emily Carr and Broadway City Hall. In all, 22 kilometers of rail will be installed across the project. Both sets of swing nose switches for the pocket track are in place. Swing nose switches, also known as a movable frog switch, have an extra moving piece in the frog to align and support the wheel fully, no matter which direction is selected. While it is a more complex switch that requires more maintenance over a conventional one, there are many advantages such as less noise, higher crossing speeds, and less wear to train wheels. Near the works yard, under-deck cable trays have been spotted. These are usually installed in between the two tracks and carry signal and communication cables. At Great Northern Way Emily Carr Station, there is a lot less to see these days. The final roof section was poured on May 28, 2025. To mark the major milestone, a maple leaf design was stamped into the roof with an Elsie McGill commemorative coin in the center, Elsie being the namesake of the TBM that bored the eastbound tunnel. The short cut and cover section is being covered in an orange waterproof membrane before being backfilled. The head house now has several sections of wall and columns in place at street level. The back section here will be the secure bike storage. Walking around the perimeter of the site, we get a great view of the complete station box. Soon, this will all be filled in. More areas of the site are being cleared of unnecessary equipment. The silos that fed the materials to the TBMs are gone. The site will be handed over to a private developer to build 3 new towers and the enhanced station entrance with public plaza. Mount Pleasant Station is in a similar situation. The station box roof is now complete, closing off access to the work below. The fresh concrete work will be cleaned and prepared for waterproofing over the next few months, and then it'll be ready for backfill. The road decks are scheduled to be removed in 2026. Plenty of temporary construction ventilation is still in place to provide fresh air to the workers below. The head house is having its first street-level walls formed. Crews are installing rebar and the forms for the first couple of sections. Below that, workers are cleaning and preparing the concrete walls for waterproofing. From above, we can see the concrete stairs that descend to the concourse level. Form supports from inside the station box are being craned out and loaded onto trucks to be removed as they're no longer required on site. On the west end of the station, the emergency exits haven't seen much change since last time. However, Broadway City Hall has seen some changes and exciting work. Construction on the southbound Canada Line platform connection has picked up. A crane carefully lowers a section of formwork for the exterior wall. In this sped up clip, we can see the skill and teamwork required to position the form just right. Behind that, the drilling sound is coming from under the scaffolding, where crews are chipping away at the Canada Line station box where the knockout panels will be removed. When complete, this area will house 3 escalators, an elevator, and a set of stairs down to the Millennium Line concourse level. On the other side of the Canada Line, the new hall that will take passengers from both street level and the Canada Line concourse level down to the Millennium Line concourse level is advancing. Concrete is now in place for the bottom of the elevator and escalator pits, with forms in place for the concourse level here. This is by far the most challenging station to build, as working around the active Canada Line requires a lot of caution, planning, and skill to execute safely. Looking down at the roof of the station box, crews are preparing the surface and then installing this grey material. While not confirmed, it may be a moisture-wicking material designed to go under the waterproof layer to deal with any moisture that makes its way in. We'll see more of it later. Inside, the platform has been formed. Here, crews are installing conduit and plumbing before adding rebar and pouring concrete. Oak VGH is also seeing similar progress with its head house, having walls formed at street level. Although the head house isn't fully closed in like Mount Pleasant, we can still see all the levels below under construction. Forms are in place for another section of the station box roof on the east end. Crews are starting to lay out rebar here, working out from the center support column. The station box walls have angled rebar in place, ready to be tied into the roof. Between June and July, 2,300 cubic meters of concrete are expected to be placed across the site. At South Granville Station, we have a good view of the progress on the concourse level. Many forms are in place for the interior walls. We can see a close-up of all the clamps used to hold and position the forms. Another one is having form release oil applied to the side that faces the wall. It prevents the concrete from bonding to the form, allowing it to be removed easily. And here it is, flying gracefully through the air. The station box exterior walls are ready and waiting for the roof segments with rebar in place. The station entrance at the base of the 39-story tower is looking fancy. The front column has been adorned with a 40-foot tall piece of indigenous artwork that will light up at night. The building will see its first residents move in this summer. Upon opening, South Granville will be the only station to have an entrance fully integrated with the building. However, across the street on the south side of Broadway, a newly proposed 35-story tower will provide a second entrance to the station. Expect to see more integrations like this going forward. Finally, we arrive at Arbutus station, where a significant amount of work has taken place in the last 6 months. The east end of the crossover box is still open to track level. That's for access for crews that are still working inside the tunnels. It's also a great viewpoint. This crane is used to lower materials and equipment in. Further along, the roof is being prepared for waterproofing. We can see more of those gray strips installed. Walking along the north side of Broadway, we can't see or hear much. This whole area is now remarkably quiet with the line closed in. The signage here that explains the work going on is excellent. Shout out to the PR and media teams for making these. They've been great throughout the project and they're updated frequently. The first street slab at the head house is complete. Crews are removing forms from the exterior walls on the level below. It's quite incredible to see how far the site has come over the past few years. Almost 3 years ago to the day, excavation has just started on the head house, and now it has 3 complete levels below grade. Tunneling for the tail tracks has been completed. Now, crews can finish the concourse and roof on the west end of the station, as access is no longer required. And that concludes our look at construction on the Broadway Subway Project in June of 2025. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.